Welcome back to Movies TV Mad. You can follow me on Twitter at Movies TV Mad. I promised you months ago that here on Movies TV Mad, I would be all over on the hype and the build-up for Black Adam. I have kept my promise. When I made that vow to you all, I had no idea Henry Cavill would be in Black Adam in a small role, in a small cameo, but it doesn't matter how small it is. It's amazing, it's fantastic. I had no idea that The Rock would do that he would be hyping not just the movie, but the future of the DC Universe, and he's at it again. Dwayne Johnson absolutely plans to make a Black Adam versus Superman movie. That is the whole point of this, man. I mean, just imagine this. Close your eyes for a minute. Imagine a Black Adam versus Superman movie for 2.5 hours, these two punching the living shit out of each other. It would be epic. Of course, you're not really going to get that, but just the idea of that is amazing. Now, that's what he says. I personally believe you'll probably get a fight between these two in a Black Adam sequel or a Superman sequel, but a whole film with both of them in it. Bit too good to be true. Could it happen? Who knows? We will see. Dwayne Johnson recently told Cinema Blend that the whole point of bringing Black Adam to the big screen in his own standalone movie is so that one day he can make a Black Adam versus Superman movie. Johnson has often been asked by fans which character would win in a fight. It depends on who's playing Superman, he said at Comic-Con. Now, these were the kind of answers we were getting with everyone who was asked about Superman, because back then Hamada and Emmerich were still in charge, and they weren't bringing Henry Cavill back. Of course, everything's changed now, thankfully. Over the summer, when asked directly if he intends to make a movie where Black Adam fights Superman, Johnson replied, absolutely. That is the whole point of this, man. I have been saying for some time, there's a new era in the DC Universe that's about to begin, Johnson said. And what I meant by that was introducing a brand new character. It's not a sequel, not an existing IP. It was, Black Adam. 2 years ago, the world had no idea who he was. We did, but not the rest of the masses out there. What I really meant by this is a new era in the DC Universe is listening to the fans and doing our best to give the fans what they want, because we haven't really heard that before, have we? I'm going to say something utterly controversial. Not Zack Snyder, Jeff Johns, Walter Hamada have ever listened to the fans. Now, that sounds like bullshit and controversial, but it's true. Zack did what he wanted to do, Jeff did what he wanted to do, and Walter did what Warner Brothers Pictures and Toby Emmerich wanted him to do. None of these people were listening to all the fans, because DC has millions of fans around the world who watch the animation, historically, the other films, reading the comics. And you can't just be listening to some of the people some of the time. There's loads of voices to listen to, and this is what The Rock's saying, and this is very, very refreshing. Johnson stressed that I have been listening and I've been wanting to address the fans for years regarding the desire to have Black Adam and Superman fight on the big screen. I've been waiting for someone to step up and address the fans and say, hey, we hear you, Johnson added. So, what he's saying is that none of these fuck buckets have addressed the fans. None of them was speaking to the fans. Zack was talking to his fans. Jeff Johns didn't speak to the fans. There was no Kevin Feige. There was no one to stand at conventions wearing a cap and going, yes, this is DC, baby. This guy is doing this. Either The Rock needs to be a figurehead or the new president of the newly formed DC Studios, one of the two. He doesn't have to be president, but he needs to be all over DC in the future. He needs to be marketing these DC Extended Universe movies, all of them. So finally, after many months, turned into many years, we ended up with what we ended up at. And the whole goal and the intention now is to this new era, new time. Now let's build out. Johnson's Black Adam movie also stars Aldis Hodge, Noah Centineo, Sarah Shahi, Marwan Kenzari, and Pierce Brosnan. So very, very exciting. Listen, as I said on the top of the show, when I promised you I'd be all over the marketing for Black Adam, because why wouldn't I be? The very fabric of this fucking channel is DC live action. It always has been. Of course, now and again I'll detour and talk about other stuff, but mainly we're here for DC. So I was always going to be all over this. But at the time, I didn't know that Henry would return, that Superman would return, that this guy, The Rock, Dwayne The Rock Johnson, would be not just hyping up his film, but the future of DC. This guy sounds like he's a leader, not just someone who's produced and acted in a film. He has a big role to play. And I didn't believe that shit prior to all of this. But this is exciting. But of course, this film has to be successful. And tomorrow, after the premiere of the movie and the press have finally seen it, the embargo lifts for social media and they will react to this movie. And this could go either way. I'm really nervous about it. Now, The Rock and his publicity team believe the media, wherever they've gone, have loved this movie. It's one thing to tell them they've loved the movie, and it's one thing to tell us once the embargo lifts. I hope for The Rock's sake and the fans' sake that everyone loves this movie as much as I do. I really do, because it's so important. Because if this film is successful, then we're all in with The Rock and his plans as well. It's a very exciting time. It's very challenging being a DC fan. It's been extremely challenging in the past few years. It's been very hurtful. It's been very painful. But I think we're seeing ourselves come out of the other side of the tunnel with Zaslav, Alan Horn, and now The Rock. This is exciting because for years we didn't think that Henry would return as Superman. I would say follow Henry on Instagram, because once that fucking movie releases, he'll probably put that Superman scene from Black Adam on his Instagram. Henry is promoting Enola Holmes right now. If I was Henry right now, my head wouldn't be at Enola Holmes. I'd be thinking, shit, Superman is back. This is all he's wanted. This is all we've wanted. And, you know, I watched DC League of Super Pets today for the first time. And you can tell it's made by fans and driven by The Rock. It's such an amazing movie, and you really need to check it out, because if this is what $7 are going to be doing, this passion, this love for DC, this is what I want. This is all I've ever wanted, and all of a sudden we don't have to think about the MCU or what they're doing. It doesn't matter. All we need to focus on is DC, and we need people in charge who care about what we want. And that they're intelligent to understand. If they give the fans what they want, then they get what they want. Money, success, respect, plaudits. That's what they want. That's what we want. We want exciting content, because the marketing drive that The Rock and WB have gone on and giving him the permission to hype this beautiful shit up and talk about the future of the DC universe has been absolutely wonderful. A lot of people see The Rock as a meathead, but he is a very intelligent guy. He is talking like a very intelligent guy, and this is exactly the kind of person we want to be a figurehead of DC Studios. People believe that Ezra Miller marketing the Flash movie will be utterly problematic. Well, bring in The Rock. He'll fucking market it for you, Ezra. Don't worry about that. I believe that Ezra Miller will be front and center of that marketing, and he needs to be. It doesn't matter what he's accused of, what he's done. He's still involved at this moment in time, and during this film, he will be the Flash. He needs to fucking promote it. But yeah, in this guy, The Rock, we have a man with a ready-made fandom. He's been around for years. He's been a sports star. He's been a wrestler, and now he's a movie star. He loves Black Adam. He's an actual DC fan, and more importantly, he's a Superman fan, so he's all over this shit. It's like he's taking Superman and Henry Cavill under his wing, and hearing that he wants Black Adam and Superman to fight in their very own movie is very, very exciting just to think about that. And these things are going to have to, these decisions are going to be, made very soon. Because how are these decisions shaped? Well, these decisions are shaped by box office and success and yours and mine reactions on these channels, on social media, on Twitter. If you see this film and you have the affinity and love, and respect for this film and The Rock and what he's done with this film, then we are going to get more. And the excitement is there because we're going full steam ahead. As I say, I had no idea we would be here right now with this kind of hype, with Superman coming back. It feels like Christmas. It feels like Christmas Day. I'm opening a present and it's fucking Henry Cavill's Superman. It's Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson saying this is about the fans. We're going to do some exciting shit. And that's all I care about. I want all the controversy put to one side. The past is the past. I have been wondering, though, what is the future for Walter Hamada? Walter Hamada's name will be all over these upcoming movies, every single one of them, up to Blue Beetle. So what does that mean? If all these movies do well, are they just going to allow Walter Hamada to leave? Will he get his plaudits? Will Zaslav say to him, you know what, you can be part of the DC Studios team. You're not going to lead it, but you know, you've done a very good job and maybe you should stay around. I don't know how David Zaslav feels about Walter Hamada. Hamada wanted to quit after Batgirl was shelved and they didn't let him. Now, for me, that's a very strange decision. It's like they wanted him to hang around to see how these movies worked out. So that's an interesting thing. I'm not convinced Hamada is done quite yet, and that will be a very controversial thing. But his name is on these movies. He's responsible for these movies. Clearly, he's not responsible for Superman returning because he was working under the leadership of Toby Emmerich, who didn't want that. They saw Henry Cavill as a problem because he was challenging them on the kind of Superman he wanted, and quite right too. So as a DC fan, you know, you must be very excited right now, because if you're not, how can you call yourself a DC fan at the end of the day? This has been Movies TV Mad. I'm Mick, your host with the most. Just ask your girlfriends and your wives. Please like, share, comment, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you never miss this beautiful perfection. I'll see you again in the next video. Until I see you again, goodbye, au revoir, auf Wiedersehen.